written in the mark. Okay, so we were learning about staffing, right? So module 5, we are dealing with module 5 and we are dealing with staffing. So that one of the important topic is empowerment. Empowerment means staff getting the power to make the decision on its own, and that is without asking any permission from the supervisor, right? So that is empowerment. So what is happening? The supervisor or the manager is sharing his power, its authority with the staff, right? So that process is known as delegation. So you supervisor giving some decision making authority to his uh, colleagues, his juniors, right? So that is known as delegation of authority. Then we have something called decentralization of authority. Okay, decentralization of authority means it is the concept of staff delegation itself, right? What is it? It's the tendency of dispersion of decision-making authority in an organized structure. Okay, that's important. In an organized structure, yeah. In an organized structure means we know who is answerable to whom, right? We know who makes the decision. In such a condition, in such an organization, the decision-making authority is being dispersed, is being shared, and that is known as decentralization of authority. What does this do? It promotes initiative and responsibility in persons in charge of doing the work, right? So the person who is doing the work is not only getting the work, but he is also getting the decision-making authority. So he can make the decisions that better suits the work. So that will have a positive impact on him. That will promote his initiative, promote him to take more and more initiatives in his job, and it will also increase his responsibility. Now, overall, if everyone is getting the same or doing the same, the overall efficiency of the entire organization will improve, right? And what are the advantages? Advantages is one is reduction in the burden of the top executive. The top executive need not make every decision, so he can give some of the decision making power to his juniors or colleagues, and they can make certain decisions also. That will reduce the burden, job burden of the top. Then develop managers, right? So juniors are getting decision making authority. They can make decisions. They can show their caliber to the top officials. So that will develop manager. And the one who is sharing the power also, sharing the authority also, he will learn to trust others, right? Because he is giving some of his power to his subordinates. So he need to have trust in them. He need to properly identify that those who are worthy of that power or worthy of that authority. So that will help in developing the manager also, right? Then facilitate better and speedier decisions. See, because the one who is doing the work is getting the power to make the decisions. So that will help him make quicker decisions. Okay, and that will be better decisions also because he is the one who's engaged in the work, right? Then growth and diversification. Growth and diversification means we can, uh, since specialized, we are getting specialized input from persons. So if we feel that that person is doing a good job, he can have his own department, right? So we can grow the company itself. We can diversify. If suppose we are having a civil engineering company, we can start a wing in mechanical. If we have good mechanical engineers with us, we can have a wing in mechanical also, right? Then motivation of subordinate. This will motivate the subordinate also. So they will see if the person is doing good job, he is getting more and more authority, he is growing much quicker than the others, so they will have a motivation to do the job also, right? And again, better communication. So one who is doing the job is making the decisions. So the people who are doing the job, they can easily communicate with the person, and they can know what is going wrong and what has to be done to correct this, right? So that will lead to better communication. So he can also communicate better with this boss also, right? Now, what are the disadvantages? Disadvantages means we have increased administrative expenses, right? Duplication of resources will be happening because the same job has to be done by different persons. So same resources has to be used. Sometimes we will have this will lead to duplication of resources. then it is unsuitable for small organizations. As we said, a good structured big organization only this will work. Then depends on the quality of the managers. Like we have said earlier, manager's quality. He should be able to identify the best candidate who can be given the authority, right? You need to identify them, then you need to properly oversee them, right? So we have said earlier, one delegation of authority doesn't mean the manager is done with it. Okay? The responsibility is increasing because he is now in charge of the person who is doing the job. Now he has to make sure that the person does his job properly, right? So depends on the quality of manager. Then lack of uniformity. Lack of uniformity means what happens is we'll have like see with different decision making centers are each of the persons are making their own decisions, right? Or so what will happen is yes, they will follow the rules and regulations of the company, but the decision making style will be different. So there will be no uniformity in the company. Okay. So if you take example of department, civil department will make this decision, mechanical will make the decision, electrical will, electronics will, computer science will, applied science will, everyone will be making their own decisions, right? But yes, they will be following the regulations of the college, but the decision making will be different, right? Then external constraints. Always for anything we'll be having external constraints. The environment will play a role, right? Maybe the government, maybe the workers within the company, they will all have a role in the development, right? Then may require extensive training at the lower level management, which will be costly. Yeah? So we cannot expect one fine day we'll call up a person. Okay, now you have to do this. You can make your decisions. Right? No, we cannot do that. He has to be trained. So that again depends on the manager, quality of the manager. We need to identify the person in beforehand. We have to train them. Right? We have to train them. We have to improve them. Then only we can assign him responsibilities. Once he has shown that he is able to take care of the job, he is able to do the job, right? He is worthy of that authority. He has proved it. So that will take some time. And time means it will be costly also. We have to train them, means it will be costly. Then increases complexity. Again, many decision making form. So decisions are the decisions can better decisions are made, but it will become more and more complex. Right? Then comes re-centralization of authority. So re-centralization of authority means it's the centralization. So we said decentralization of authority. So from the central, rather than one person holding all the power, all the authority, we are dispersing it. That is decentralization. Okay? Central means in between the center. Okay? One person is having all the power. So we are decentralizing. Decentralizing means we are spreading the power, spreading the authority between other people, other persons also. We are taking from one person who is having all the authority. We are taking his power, his authority, and giving and sharing it with the others. Now, what is re-centralization? Back to basics, back to form, right? So it's the centralization of authority that was once decentralized. Authority which was once shared now being taken back. And the manager said, "Okay, you had the authority for this project. Now you had the decision making authority. Now that project is over. So you need not make any decision. I'll make the decision." Right? Like that. So actually, what happens is we are not taking back the whole thing. The whole authority is not being taken, but a part of it will be taken. So normally to completely reversal of decentralization, as the authority delegation is not wholly withdrawn by the managers. Okay, so it's not wholly fully withdrawn, but only a part of it is withdrawn. Okay, the process in a centralization of authority over certain type of activity function. Maybe for a project. Okay, so maybe for a project, a person was given the chance because he is an expert in that. So after the project is done, he said, "Okay, thank you. You have done a good job." Again, once such a project comes up, you'll be given the opportunity. Now we'll give this opportunity to someone else, like that. Okay, so terms: empowerment, delegation of authority, decentralization of authority, centralization of authority and decentralization of authority. All these things are more or less connected. Okay. So if you have decentralization of authority in the company, then only delegation of authority will take place. If delegation of authority takes place, only we will have empowerment. Right? Clear? So the next topic is effective organizing. Okay. So in this module, a little bit of organizing is also coming. Okay. It should have been come earlier in the last module, but in this module also some organizing concepts are also coming to take in mind. Okay. So in the exams, module 5 and 6 will be part C, right? So don't get confused. Questions are getting mixed up. Organizing, a part of the organizing is coming in module 5 also, right? So effective organizing involves developing an intentional structure of roles for effective performance. Okay. So what we are doing, we are forming a structure. Okay, we are forming a structure for the effective performance. So for example, say when you guys are doing a project, okay, the project we'll be doing, you guys are from the whole class, a group is formed, right? Based on your interest, based on your friendship, or based on your interest, the project will be group will be formed. Okay, that group will be assigned a project guide will be assigned. Okay, based on the project the guide will be assigned, right? So similarly, 10 or 20 project groups may be formed in a classroom, right? Once it is done, what will we do? We assign a project coordinator. Project coordinator will oversee all the project. Okay, the guide will see the individual project, and the project coordinator will see overall the entire thing will be under project coordinator, right? So then above project coordinator, there will be your HOD will be there, then above principal, like that. So there's a structure. We are forming a structure. Okay, maybe if we have sometimes your staff coordinator will also be included in the structure. Okay, so we'll have your group, then you'll have your guide, then project coordinator, staff coordinator, HOD, and then your principal. Okay? So we have a structure. Okay? We are developing an intentional structure of roles. So each of these persons having their own roles. So your project guide will deal with your project. Okay, whatever your anything and everything related to a project, the project guide will be ultimate. Okay, so that will be done by project guide. Project coordinator will oversee the whole thing. So, like when is the project due, when is the first review, when is the presentation is to be done. Okay, all the things will be seen by the project coordinator. If the guide is having any doubt in the thing, so the guide will contact the project coordinator and ask, hey, we need this thing, so it's it out. Then like that, the path of communication is there. So if you want to go outside of the campus, you want to do a project, we'll go to your project guide. So when project guide okays it, the next step will be to the project coordinator. Project coordinator will okay it, then your staff coordinator will come into play because classes are also being held, right? So the staff coordinator will have to okay that, right? Once staff coordinator also okays, then then the next question will be to HOD. So HOD for HOD. So when if HOD finds everything is in order, your guide has approved, your staff coordinator has approved, your project coordinator has approved. So once he sees all these things have been done, so he will forward it. He will approve it. Right? You go to the principal, right? So principal see. So what will principal look? Okay, has HOD signed it, right? Has HOD signed it? Okay. So HOD has to look there whether the staff coordinator, the guide, and the project coordinator has signed. Okay. So HOD signed it, the principal will sign. Okay. Staff coordinator will look at whether you have got the approval from the guide and the project coordinator. Project coordinator will look at whether you have got the permission of the guide. So there's everyone is having a role, right? That is what we call as effective organizing. So it requires a network of decision and communication centers for coordinating efforts towards the goal. So what's the goal? To complete a project, right? Our goal is to complete a project. So we require a network of decision and communication centers. So who are making decisions? Right? We have your guide is a decision center, your project coordinator is a decision center, your staff coordinator is again a decision center, HOD is a decision center, principal is a decision center, right? So then decision centers are there, and also communication centers are also there. Okay. Then establishment of objectives and orderly planning are necessary for a good organization, right? So we need to know, especially when you see if your project is about concrete, you're doing a project in concrete design. So we know, so to get a result, we need to take the strength at 28 days, right? So 28 days we have to wait. So we need effective planning. We need to look at the when do we cast, right? When do we cast? So when is the 20th day? So we cannot expect to come and demold and test the strength on a holidays. So we will see whether a holiday is there, right? So it's the 20th day on a holiday. We have to plan it. So establishment of objectives and orderly planning are necessary for good organization. So in order to complete a project, the objective is to strengthen the test of the concrete, right? And you need to plan accordingly. The 28th day, when is it coming? Will it bother me? End date? Like, you need to be careful. So in organizing, there's no one best way, and it depends on the situation. Okay? You cannot say it's one way is the best way, but always it will depend on the situation. Okay? Now we are having pandemic, everything has changed. Everything is something is according to the new normal, right? So it will depend upon the situation how we react. So effective organization helps in determine the future personal needs and require training programs. Okay? So when we plan accordingly, right? When we see everything is being done properly. We suppose in a construction company, we are planning according, and we'll see. So we had to do concreting on this day, but with this much amount of concreting has to be done. So with the current staff, current workers, we may not be able to do it, right? We need to hire someone. Okay? Hire someone on that particular day only. For concreting only, we will need extra staff, right? So we will get an idea of the future personal needs. Okay, how many new employees are needed, right? Like that, and it sometimes for require training also. We'll be doing something new. We need to have the training requirements also, right? So it also discloses weakness, right? Okay, when we properly structure our organization, we know which is the weak link. Okay, what do we have to do? Again, where there we may have to add some person or train the existing person or something like that, right? It discloses weaknesses also, right? The next term is organization culture. Okay, the organization culture. So what do we mean the culture? We know is the way we do things, right? The way we do things. That's our culture. Okay, we might have learned it from school. We are like from the college. We have learned from our friends. We might have learned it from your home. So there's a certain way of you doing things. That's your culture, right? You will say when you see an elderly person, stand up. Some may stand up, some may not. That's based on what you have learned, what you do. Okay, it's the way you do the things. Organization culture means it's the general pattern of behavior, shared beliefs, and values that members have in common. Okay, so what are the shared? There's a pattern. Okay, how do people have what people have in common? The pattern of things which people have in common. And what is the pattern of behavior, beliefs, and values? Okay, that members have in common. It's often stable and does not change fast. Actually, you can say that it is the DNA of the business. Okay, it may be, we can say it is the DNA of the business, because it is very stable, because and it will take time to change also. You cannot expect the culture to change very quickly. It will take a lot of time. Okay, it will take a lot of time to change the culture in an organization. We have to start from very slowly, and we'll have to develop it, right? So each organization has its own unique culture and provides an identity and exclusive to the organization. So every organization will have its own culture. Okay, that will depend upon many factors. Okay, from the top to the bottom, everyone will be part of the culture formulation. Okay, and if you need to change something in the culture, we'll have to do it in a very systematic manner also. So this culture provides an identity. Okay? It makes your organization exclusive. That organization particular. Basically, every organization does their things differently. It will be same. Okay, it will be same college. Okay, you may be the college may be engineering college, right? But every engineering college will have their own system. That system is that they will have their own culture. Okay, you might have compared your friends will be studying some other different engineering college, right? Some other, not only engineering college, some other colleges also. So they will say, in my college, this is how we do. You say, this is my college, this is how we do. That's difference, right? And that shows the culture of the college or culture of the business, right? So organization culture affects planning, organizing, staffing, leading, and controlling, right? So basically, it affects everything. From planning, organizing, staffing, leading, controlling means it affects everything in the organization. Therefore, it influences the effectiveness of the organization itself, right? Everything, every single thing in the organization is being affected, right? So, for example, what we can say, see, in some offices or some offices, what happens is the boss, the top, the manager will leave only after all the employees have left, right? Especially, you will be waiting for make sure that all the lady staff has left. Okay? Sometimes you leave after all the lady staff have left. You wait for so that they have securely they have left the office premises. Right? That shows that that's the culture of that person. Okay, and when that is being shown, that becomes the culture of the organization also. Right? So what will do? What will people do? People will start to mimic. They will start to copy the person. If a person is doing a very good job, a good thing we see, a good culture is formed. What we will also do, we will copy that same thing. Okay? Like that. So organization culture affects everything. It will affect the planning, it will organizing, staffing, leading, and controlling. Right? So affect all overall effectiveness of the organization is affected. Okay? See, your home will have your culture, right? In your home, you will be doing in your home you will be doing some a matter in the same in a particular way. Once you go to your grandparents' house, you may be acting differently. Once you go to your aunt or uncle's house, it will be different. And once you go to a family friend's house, different. So every day there will be different sets of rules. Okay? And these things are not written down. Okay, you in your home, you will do certain things, you will not do certain things. Okay, and nobody has written it down. Okay, you have to do it like this. Okay? It has been developed slowly over time. Okay, maybe you develop this culture, right? So in the earlier days, what will happen? The laptop or the uh, computer, it will be always situated in the central room. Okay, where everyone can see what you are doing on your laptop or what you are doing in your not laptop PC. Okay? PC will be located in the central room, and people can know what you are doing. Right? Then what happens? Now the culture has changed. Everyone is having smartphones. So everyone will be doing it in their privacy. So this is how the culture will change. Basically, it's a shared meaning. Yeah, it's a system of shared meaning. Now, broadly, there are two types of culture. One is strong organization culture, and other will be weak. Okay? The strong organization culture means it refers to a situation where the employees adjust strong organization culture. They accept their roles and responsibilities willingly and enjoy working there. Okay, so strong organization culture means it refers to a situation where the employees are well adjusted. Okay, people are they are well adjusted. They can understand what the organization policies are. See, sometimes what will happen is like in your case itself, when you're riding, the rule came wear your helmet, put in your seat belt. Okay, now what happened? It's for your benefit. And what happened? Some people came forward and said, no, it's not for our hair is getting destroyed. It's not suitable. It's not scientific like that. People came up, right? So people have different opinions. So in a strong organization culture, what will happen is uh, it's where the employees are well adjusted. They know they are happy there. Okay, they are happy there. They respect the policies and guidelines, and they accept their roles and responsibilities willingly. And overall, they enjoy working there. Right? And what happens in weak culture? Weak culture in this situation, people accept responsibility out of fear. Okay, they do their work out of fear and do things due to compulsion. Okay, they here the term comes voluntarily, like we have said earlier, right? the quality center, right? Quality circles said voluntarily is different. People should come. People should do things voluntarily rather than being pushed. They should be. They should work voluntarily. And in order to happen, in order to that to happen, in order to people work voluntarily, what will happen? What do we need? We need a situation that people are happy there. People wants the company to go forward. Okay? People wants to do that work, right? In that scenario only, people will start doing things voluntarily, right? Otherwise, they will do what they will be only interested in the income. For them, organization is only a source of income and never get attached to it. That is the case. It's always bad because they will do their job only. Whatever is they are assigned to, they will do complete that, and they will leave. But they are not giving any initiative. They are not taking any initiative. They are not putting in any effort. They are not putting any extra effort into the company. So that will be form of weak organization, and that is again because of the, see, it may not be always due to because of the boss. Okay, boss, yes, that's a major factor. Okay, if you have a good boss, okay, who understands what is happening, who knows what to tell, who knows what to do, then if that is the case, then it's okay, right? But if that is not the case, okay, if that is not the case, what will happen? Again, people will start hating the company. But if boss, so sometimes what happens is the boss, not only the boss, the subordinates will also have effect on us, the people whom we are working with, right? How they behave, what is their culture, okay? How do they believe? If their belief. So if the people around you are only interested in money, they'll do the minimal job to get the amount and leave. You will also do the same thing. That's what I said earlier. We tend to copy, right? So they will also copy the thing. You will also become like that. Okay. So, but if you go to an organization and see that people are all are taking extra interest, they are doing works, they're putting in not only 100%, they're putting in 110%. You will also be initiative. You will also have thought. You will also have an intention to do the same, right? If you are not a good employee, what you will do? You will, okay, I'll leave. That will also happen, right? So, weak organization structure in this situation, people accept responsibilities only out of fear and do things due to compulsion. People are compelled. For them, organization is only a source of income and never get attached to it, right? So, basically, we have when we say we have organization structure culture, what are they? There is values. So that is be total for the entire company. Okay, values of the company. We are here for making profit. We are a non-profit organization. So there will be values will be there. There will be beliefs. Okay, what do I believe? Then the behavior will also have, and the pattern. Okay, how everything is happening, right? So effective organizing involves developing an intentional structure of roles for effective performance. Okay? We are forming structure. Okay, and structure we are assigning for each person. We are assigning a role, like what we said. You, your project group, your guide, your project coordinator, your staff coordinator. Then you'll have your HOD principal. So that's a structure. Okay, intentional structure we have formed, and each of these person is having a role. And why did you form this structure? Because we need to perform we need everyone to have a good project. Okay, everyone to have equal chance, and everything has to be done right. The project should be done properly. So here our aim is each of the 20 groups can do their project, can do a very good project, right? So requires a network of decision and communication centers for coordinating efforts towards the goal. Okay, requires a network of decision and communication centers coordinate. So there should be someone who is making. So different project guides are there. So we have a project coordinator who can coordinate all 20 guides. Okay, all 20 projects can be coordinated by one single person, and he can talk with the staff coordinator so that your daily classes are not affected. Right? So decision and communication centers are there. Then establishment of objectives and orderly planning are necessary in a good organization. So we need proper or planning, and objectives should be set very clearly. So what you have to understand, there's no one best way to do something. It's only the best way that suits the situation. Okay, you might have done something in this situation. Okay? In pandemic situation, we have done the best thing in online classes. Okay, but what is the best thing for taking classes? It is offline classes itself. But for pandemic situation, we have no, the best option is online classes like that, right? Then affecting organization helps determine future personal need and required training programs. Okay, so we see when we chart it out, so we'll see. Okay, we need a person who want to do this. Okay, so see what will happen is, so the at the top principal is there. The principal will have to do all the look into everything, right? So what is, if we need someone? So this we are talking only about civil department. So we have civil, mech, EC, electrical, CS, applied. So all these department will also have the same things to come. So a whole lot of works are coming. So we'll say if we have a dean or project in charge, okay, so who can look into the entire thing. That will reduce the work of the principal. So principal can do delegation of authority. He can give some of his authority to a new person, and he will be set in charge of doing the overall project. That is not only for civil, but all the branches. Right? That is delegation of authority comes. Right? Then organization culture. Organization culture. What is basically culture means how do we do things. Right? How do you do things in your home? How do you do things in your outside? Okay. One basic thing is how you eat. Okay. In your home, you might be taking a food, coming in for sitting in front of TV or the laptop and having a food, right? But you will not do the same thing in your cousins or aunt's home. You'll have all of you to sit together on a dining table and have food. Or when you go to a restaurant, okay? How you have food is entirely different from how you have your food in your home. Okay, because other people are there, that will also influence how you behave. So organizational culture is often stable and does not change. Basically, you can say this is the DNA of the DNA of the business, the DNA of the organization. So it is very stable, and it will take a lot of time to change. Also, the organization has its own unique culture and provides an identity and exclusiveness to the organization. So your culture makes you exclusive. Your culture gives you identity, right? Culture is your identity. Culture makes you unique, and it makes you exclusive, right? Then organization culture affects planning, organizing, staffing, leading, controlling. It affects all managerial functions, right? Your culture, and which ultimately influences the effectiveness of the organization. So there are broadly we have two types of uh, organizational culture. One is strong organizational culture. Here, the people are well adjusted. Okay, they respect the organizational policies. They are happy working there. Okay, they follow the guidelines. They accept their roles and regulations. They accept their roles and responsibilities, and they are happy and willingly work there. Right? And in weak organization culture, it is situation where people accept responsibilities only out of fear, okay, and do things under compulsion. For them, organization is only a source of income and never get attached to it. That's always a dangerous problem. Okay, if only you are attached to your company, you will always aim for the betterment of your company. So if you are only working there for the money, when you see there's another opportunity, you immediately will leave this and go, right? But if you are attached to it, even if you get higher, better orders, better offers, tend to stay with your company. Okay, and that will see always the organizational culture will not only depend upon the management, top management. Of course, they will have a major role. They will have a lion's share. They will have. Okay? They will be having the biggest effect, but your co-workers will also affect. Where you work, what is the constitution over there? That will all have an effect. Okay? One more topic is that is organization charts. Okay? It indicates how departments are tied together along the principal lines of authority. Okay, map lines of decision making authority. Shows formal authority relationship and omits any significant uh, informal and information relationship. Okay, so what is organization chart? Organization chart is basically what we said. Okay, so we have your project guide, you have your project, you have your project guide, you have your uh, project coordinator, staff coordinator, HOD, principal. Okay? So that is a line of authority. That's line of decision making. That is the principal line of authority for you. As far as you are concerned, that is the decision making line. Similarly, there will be other departments also, right? How these are connected. Okay. So when we how these lines are connected, that is shown by organization chart, right? Like suppose in Polin, we have you have the DGP, then you will have IG. IG you will have north, south, east, right? IG in certain locations. Then you have DIG in ACP. So that's how it's connected. That's how what shows the organization charts. It indicates how departments are tied together along with the principal lines of authority. So who is answerable to whom, right? Map lines of decision making authority. It shows formal authority relationship and emits many significant and informal information. So it shows what's the relationship between person who is answerable to whom, right? So it shows the this gives us an idea, right? So we'll stop here today. Just give me your attendance. If you have any doubt, please let me know.